Chris from Liege Games. Thanks for watching. Um, as always, these are my own views, and there's been no outside influence as much as I, wish that somebody would attempt it. I'm going to be talking to you tonight. This is my first review, so we're going to see how this goes based on what I said I was going to do for my criteria in the reviews in the past. And this game is it's a great one to start on, I guess, because of all of the noise it has already made in the industry. In case you haven't heard of it, I'd be surprised right now if you've been ear to the ground at all, is Riot Games' latest project from their League of Legends property, Tellstone, King's Gambit. So I'm going to walk you through the 5 things that I look for in a game and my thoughts after doing this. Straight up, I bought it. I have a copy right here. You're going to see these are the tokens. The extremely nice case. But this is the situation, is that it's created a lot of controversy so far already in the short amount of time it's been out. You have a very wide opinion and variety of thoughts and very strong takes, and even some issues about the old dead horse that always gets beaten around these issues about how much influence do publishers have on reviewers when either reviewers are being paid or provided copies. Like I said, I bought this copy with my own money. No one's paying me, no Patreon, no, straight on my bank account. So this is what the tokens look like. I mean, you can see they are quality. I mean, that being said, it was almost $40 with shipping, so it's not cheap in that sense. First up tonight, I'm just going to talk about. I'm not going to run through rules in these reviews. You can look at rules and plenty of other places. There's plenty of unboxings. There's plenty of other rules reviews. This is just going to be talking about the game itself. So my first thing, is it accessible? It's probably one of the most accessible games you're going to see on the market, period. Apart from Love Letter, apart from Coup, something like that, it's going to be probably one of the most accessible, easiest to play, quickest to learn to get to the table games that you are going to experience, because as people have said both derogatorily and positively, it's a memory game. It's a memory game with manipulation and bluffing. And the rule book is, you have to learn like 6 things in the game. And so there's not a whole lot to learn. They're basic flip, swap, move, guess, concede a point, all of that sort of stuff. I'm not going to run through those. That's not the purpose of this video. But is it accessible? Accessible to new gamers, accessible to experienced gamers? Absolutely. No questions asked. So can it get to the table easily? No question asked from that standpoint either. Second one is sort of the big one that I think there's a lot of controversy on. And to be very frank, I played it with my wife a few times, and we're sort of split right now. I don't mean that in one of us likes it and one of us doesn't like it. It was both of us afterwards, do we want to play it again? And having played it several times, the answer is I don't know. It really is an interesting puzzle, and I think it's missing something that I'm going to speak about here in a minute that would give it more oomph, chutzpah, from the do I want to play it again standpoint, because as a memory game, the longer you sit there to think and come up with a pattern, to come up with a way of memorizing these things, putting an acronym, putting some sort of device to allow you to remember it rather than just the symbols that they are, I found that the easier the game was. But because of that, I sort of feel mixed. My third point with this game is both in a positive and negative. Do I think about it afterwards? The third criteria I use. In a positive sense, yeah, I do. I found myself thinking about this afterwards, like, okay, am I doing something wrong? Is there a deeper strategy yet? I've only played it, several times with my wife, the same person. Obviously, with the same person, it becomes sort of the meta game, and I think that's where you start to see this game sort of evolve. But also in a negative way, like, I'm not sure, it's on my mind, like, will I want to also play this over other things? And that goes, that's what I'm thinking about. And that's my fourth point in these reviews is, do I want to play this? If I have 10 or 15 minutes to play something, or if I want to play something very short, do I want to play this? Do I want to get out something a little more complicated like Zerts? Do I want to get out something like Yinish? Do I just want to get Talk? Something that I really like. Hive, even. Hive is the basic comparison that this is getting, or in terms of abstracts that are simply to the table? And right now the answer is no. The answer is just no right now for me. That being said, I still want to play it several more times with some sort of variant or mix up in terms of forcing things to move quicker, because I think this game moves too slow. Like I said, if you can develop that pattern, you can just sit there for 30 seconds, a minute. There's no timer, there's no pressure. And so I think that's where the game's downfall is. And I disagree with some of the other people out there that are saying this isn't a game. This is just as much of a game that Crokinole is, or Clask. Otherwise, as Rodney from Watch It Played said, if you're going to call this just a memory game with just 7 tokens that you're just memorizing, you might as well call those just flicking games, because there's no difference in the amount of depth that's there. It's what you enjoy. And I think that ties into my last point in these reviews is, are other people going to want to buy this after playing it? And again, I think this is going to be a very, very, very mixed bag. And I think it's a try before you buy. I really do. I can't look at you and tell you to buy this right now. It is not going to receive the same acclaim that Mechs versus Minions did. It's not going to get the same audience. And so I applaud Riot Games for putting that out there. I'm just not sure if it's missing some sort of element, a timer element, another little twist that makes it just that much more. Because if it had some other little twist or some other little variant that made it just a little bit unique, sort of like Talk does, sort of like Hive does, there's nothing abstractly unique about either of those games, but they each take what they're based upon and twist it in just a certain direction that make people want to play it again, that make people want to buy it themselves after they play it. And right now for this, I don't know what this is missing. I can't put my finger on it right now in this review. And I think that's why it's so controversial, is because of the simplicity of it. Because some people are going to be turned off by that, because they get into our hobby and they want the deep of the deep and the complex. And if it isn't complex, if it doesn't meet their certain criteria of what's an actual game, a gamer's game, they're just going to trash it or throw it apart. You can see already in the comment section, and I'll try and throw up a few pictures here, that people. This is what bothers me, and this is why this game is also so controversial. Is you've got people again, and I haven't seen this really for a retail game. You've seen this plenty of time on Kickstarters. You've got these people who are putting in 10s who haven't played it and pre-ordered it, and it's going to be out in a year or two. And you've got these people who are going, well, you can't put a 10 in. I'm going to put a 1 in just to spite you. And so you've got these people putting 1s and 10s in, and especially the 1s in this case, seem to be doing it despite the 10s, even though the 10s played it. And that's the one difference. Before in the Kickstarters, neither have played it, and they're just doing it to butt heads and be controversial. This, you actually have people liking it, and for me, if people like it and want to give it a 10, great. I'm not going to give it a 10. However, I think it's a game, and I think it could be a good game for the right person. And what makes me want to try this even more is I have 2 young kids, and I have a 6.5-year-old who is very intelligent, and I would like to try this game with him to see what he does with this, to see how he is able to wrap his mind around this, and to watch sort of the gears click, and to see what happens then. Because if he finds this fun, if he gets an interest in this, or if it just stimulates him in a way that a lot of other games aren't going to do, like basic memory, because this is not memory. This is not. Don't kid yourself. I play memory on a weekly basis with my 4.5-year-old, and this is not memory. However, it has enough aspects, but it has enough upgraded as well that it's not dissimilar either, and it's going to cognitively provoke kids, I think, as well at the same time. Is it going to do the same for the adults? And I think that's where the question is, that's where the metagame is, that's where the trash talking is going to come in. So yeah, if you are like me and my wife, where we're just sitting there looking at each other, taking 30 seconds to a minute sometimes between moves, it's not going to be as good. It's not going to be as dynamic. But if you have more of that, and I think the term has been thrown around, beer and pretzels, or even, just bar game, that's the other thing I like about this, is unlike a lot of the other games, apart from Hive and Talk, I can take this anywhere. I could take this anywhere, play this with anyone, play this with anyone. And so that in and of itself no one's going to be turned off by that. And it's a way to introduce some of my friends and colleagues who aren't into this, just a glimpse into things. And so for that, I am grateful. And for that reason, I'll probably keep it around in my collection. Will I want to play it a lot? I don't know. I think it depends on how it changes with me and my wife and how it changes with me and my kids over the next 6 months to a year. But do I think it's an absolutely stellar, fantastic, top-notch game? No. I think it's, like I said, it's missing something for me. Is it not a game? Is it trash? Is it worthless? Did they do a horrible job with this? No. No. I think they did. I think they did their diligence. I think something is just missing. And if I could put my finger on it, I would put it out there as a variant, and I would shout it to the heavens. Some sort of timing variant, 30 seconds per turn, 15 seconds per turn, something like speed chess. You've got to hit the clock, and your next person has to take the turn. Right? If it had something like that, where you only gave 5 to 10 seconds at most for each person to take a turn, and it went back and forth like that, this game would be crazy. This game would be bluffing, and it would be quick, and it would be dangerous. And then you play best 2 out of 3, and it would be intense, and it would be fun, and you'd be laughing afterwards. And for me, I think I'm going to probably try that, because I tell my wife this all the time. She doesn't believe me always. But for me, I'm okay with losing every single time. There are games that we played that I am 0 for 18 playing Space Base. I kid you not. I've lost to 2 players, 3 players, and 4 players. It's about having the fun. I like the game. It's fun. I think this would do something like that. And so that's what I'm going to try, and that's what I'd like to see. But is it going to make this game any less controversial? No, it's not. So if you want to try it, I don't think, and I do not suggest taking the substitution of cards or necessarily, and you could try it probably with the Hive tokens. I think that would probably be the next similar thing if you have a copy of Hive, but I wouldn't do cards. I think there's too much memorization, too much similarity that you can do with numbers. You need symbols that are distinctly different that you can't just easily create an easy sequence of. I think that would be the best way to try it. I don't think there's any other way, because if you make a print and play or something like that, you're going to mark it somehow, and it's going to be too easy to tell. But it's something that I think is probably going to go unrecognized at how good it actually is, because of people shouting it down, because it wasn't what they expected in the first place. When Riot Games said they were making a new game after the Mechs versus Minions, they really set the expectation in the bar high, probably too high, and because it wasn't what a lot of these fanboys and a lot of these deeper, heavy gamers wanted, people are upset, and upset so much that there's integrity issues. I went on the Reddit thread the other day. People who are praising this are Riot Games shills and have no integrity, and they're clearly influenced. I must be a shill. I think this has a quality game. Is it excellent? No, it's missing something. Is it horrible? Am I going to give it a negative review? No. But is it what it could have been? No. I think something was missed in the playtesting. Something was missed in terms of the complexity, just to give it that twist, that time element, that extra take that, to prevent your opponent from just sitting there and timing you out with pure memorization, to prevent that. So those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Otherwise, a little shout out here tonight. I'm sporting the Tower of God merchandise. Tower of God, 25th BAM. Anyway, if you're not familiar with it, go find it online. It's a great read. Skip the anime. Anyway, I hope you like the format. I'm going to try and continue to tweak it. Give me any feedback. Hopefully going to get a better camera, sound stuff. I'm still working on, computer stuff. So obviously that's an issue, but let me know your thoughts. Love to hear them. Okay. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends. Subscribe. Give me a shout out. Thanks. See you next time.